What's going on, people, and welcome back to my channel. Now, you could have been anywhere in the world right now, but you are with me and I appreciate that. Now, I go by the name of Mr. Midas. Now, before we start this incredible episode of Too Many Games featuring Dr. Joe Twist, who is the chair of the Bafta Games Committee and CEO of UKIE, I've got something for you. Yes, you, the Golden Gang, wonderful people. I want to give you something just to say thank you for all of the support, all of the love, hitting 3K on Instagram. Like, you lot have just been amazing. Now, the wonderful people at Elgato is giving me the opportunity to give you a wonderful prize. Yes, you can win a HD60 Plus. Now, anybody who knows anything about gaming, streaming knows this is one of the sickest capture cards out there. So you can film gameplay, you can stream with it. It's the thing that you need in your life, and you can win it. And all you gotta do is something simple. You need to be subscribed to me, which you should be doing already. Shout out my Golden Gang. Make sure you hit that sub, and all you have to do is go over to Elgato and subscribe as well. Under any one of my videos, I want you to drop the hashtag #IPlayToWin and hashtag Golden Gang. And I'll choose someone at random, and make sure your YouTube is connected to your social media. And that's it. Simple things, and you win them sick prizes there. Anyway, let's get into this, because this conversation with Dr. Joe Twist is incredible, insightful. You're gonna learn lots, especially if you are in gaming. You need to pre this one. Let's get into it. What's going on, people, and welcome to a brand new episode of Too Many Games and Not Enough Time. Now, like you always know, we're not just video anymore, my G. You get me? You can listen to us on Spotify, your Apple playlist, and all of that. So if you're listening over there, make sure you come over to the YouTube channel and give us a like. Now, on today's episode of Too Many Games, I have someone who is incredibly special. She has an OBE, my G. I'm talking the CEO of UKIE, the chair of Bafta Games. She's out there fighting for gaming for us. You don't even know, the one and only Dr. Joe Twist. Welcome to Too Many Games and Not Enough Time. How are you today?
I'm good. What an intro. You know what? I have my OBE here.
Woo! Stun on them.
I decided to put it in front of me just to keep me motivated, because, gosh, it's been, what, a year?
It's crazy, like, where we are in life. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about straight off the jump is, many people might not know Joe, and behind the scenes, Joe is one of the hardest working people I know when it comes to championing diversity. Now, in the short time I've known Joe, she's helped me so much in my career. She's helped me with like Bafta Games. She's allowed me to like produce incredible content for Gamescom. So firstly, I just want to say thank you to you. I just want to say thank you for being an incredible person to make sure that Black voices and faces are seen, and you're always championing it. And I want to give you your flowers, because you're incredible at what you do. So I just wanted to say thank you before we even start. All right?
Thank you so much. You're going to make me cry. Don't. I'm over emotional right now. So you're just going to make me cry, because it's a no-brainer, right? You know, it's ridiculous. So absolutely, you're so talented. And there are so many talented people whose voices we don't hear and faces we don't see. So it's up to everyone to fix that.
And you do so much. But you know what, Joe? Let's take it back a little bit, yeah? Because I only found out recently that you was born in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I was born in Hong Kong.
Yeah, how did I never know that? That's crazy. So obviously you work in gaming, you're champion for gaming, you're a big gamer yourself, even though you don't get time to game half of the time because you're so busy. But how was being born in Hong Kong like kind of created who you are, like being into gaming and stuff like that? Like, talk to me about it.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, I was born in the 70s. I'm a child of the 70s, and it were, you know, my parents worked out there. My mum was a teacher, dad was an engineer, and they were there for a couple of years, and it was an amazing place to grow up in the 70s and 80s in Hong Kong. We came back to Scotland, actually, where my mum's from, in 1983. But when I was there, you know, Hong Kong, if you watch that James Bond film, I can't remember which one it is, and it's set in Hong Kong, and it's in 1978, I think. That is the Hong Kong that I remember. And it was full of shiny things, it was full of gadgets, you know, and I got my real love of gadgets there, because it was, you know, it was just a place where you either bought handbags and shoes or gadgets and shiny things. So I really was surrounded by tech, and it was just such an amazing place to live. And when I was in 1978, in fact, when I was 5 years old, my opticians told my parents, because I had a really bad squint, that they should get me this new machine that's just come on the market, and it was it's called an Optim, and it was basically Pong. And my optician said to my parents, buy her this machine and make her play it with her bad eye, and cover up the good eye, so that you're exercising that muscle in the eye, just back and forth. So that was my first games console, was Pong. I am that generation.
That is incredible. So you say Pong changed your life.
Yeah, Pong changed my life. I still had to wear glasses, unfortunately, but I didn't have to wear a plaster over the glasses like a lot of kids in the 70s and 80s used to have to do. But I also got really obsessed. I loved Game & Watch. So the Game & Watch devices, you know, in those days where you had to buy a new device for each game, and I've still got 3 of them. So I loved them. I loved the sleekness. They were so thin and slim.
Look, I got the new, the color edition, the new one. It weren't color and looking pretty like this, the old school Game & Watch.
It definitely was not. But I loved the 70s design of it. It was, you know, brushed aluminium, but in that 70s beige. And the back of it was brown, you know, it's like proper 70s colors. I loved growing up in Hong Kong. And then we moved back. Well, my mum and my sister and I moved back to Scotland in the 80s.
That is so dope. So Joe, with UKIE, like that's a really good way to transition, because like with UKIE, you're always working towards how positive gaming can be in people's lives. And it's from you was little, it actually changed your life. So tell us just briefly about UKIE for anyone who doesn't know, just a little brief thing.
Yeah, we're a trade association, which sounds really boring. And I've been in this job since 2012. And one of the great things about this job is that, and the organization, is that it was ready to change. And you know, I think it was at that time opening up its doors to represent developers, so people who made games, not just publishers, you know, which the organization used to represent. So it was a really exciting time, and Andy Payne was chair of the organization at the time, and he's a great visionary, he's just brilliant. And so it was, you know, UKIE is a trade body that represents the voice of the industry, and loads of different sectors have trade bodies, and we're the sort of mouthpiece for the industry, and we listen to everyone. We have to know almost everything about the games industry in order to see perhaps some issues coming down the road that politicians might get angry about, or indeed to kind of figure out what kind of support that businesses need so that they can really be successful, make more games. And our mission is to make the UK the best place in the world to make, sell and play games. And because we are, and we're world renowned. We're the birthplace of the games industry. The people who started the games industry are still alive and working in the industry. It's amazing. So it's such a brilliant job, because I've got a fantastic team, and all the stuff, all the campaigns, all the work is all done by them, not me. And I'm just there to sort of try and pull threads together and sort of steer things in different ways and talk and, you know, be that mouthpiece. You know, it's my team that do all the hard work. So props to them. And it is just such a joy to be around the games industry. You know, it is, I've been in TV industry, I've been in a journalist, and it is by far the industry with the most interesting, creative, nicest people. Yeah. Really welcoming.
Yeah,
you know?
That's one thing I always say. I feel like a lot of people know I come from the music industry, and I found that was really toxic, and the gaming industry is so much more opening and welcoming. Still got lots of work to do, but it's a baby industry. Now, one thing I loved from the first moment we met, we had like a official meeting, and then I think we spent about half an hour just talking about the video games that we love and what we love about gaming. Now, you are a huge part of Bafta Games, and I know the Bafta Games is coming up this year. So the games you're playing are probably all secrets. I'm not even going to get you to mess up your embargoes, but I want you to tell me a game of the last, let's say of the last generation console, so either the PlayStation, the Xbox, it could be a PC game, or the Nintendo Switch, which could be this generation or next. But anyway, that meant a lot to you. Just give me one game that you really loved of the last generation.
Of the last generation, oh gosh, that is a difficult one. I mean, the original Last of Us, not the original, but not Last of Us 2. I mean, that's a very good game. But Last of Us was mind-blowing, because, you know, you kind of, I don't have very much patience, but I do love playing games where I can take my time, but there is a really, really, really strong story, because I've always been into stories. But I think a lot of games in the early days, like a lot of games, narrative-driven games, I was a little bit disappointed with the quality of the stories, you know, in the early 2000s and that kind of thing. So, and we've moved on so much as an industry in terms of how we tell stories. So I think, you know, Last of Us was quite groundbreaking. And really, I think it's the one that I sort of show people, you know, videos of who don't really understand games. I did really also love Detroit Become Human, because I'm always looking out for those games that I can show people who don't understand games, you know, and it tends to be those sort of really cinematic ones that aren't a hard grind or aren't too difficult in terms of just being able to pick up the controller and play. And Detroit Become Human was one of those games as well that I still recommend to people who haven't picked up a controller before, because there's such a barrier to entry for a lot of people, you know, and I just want to share that joy of these incredible stories and worlds that we're creating.
Before we break them down, like, I gotta give you kudos. Your earrings are sick. I didn't even realize that you got the Pac-Man Ghost earrings. So swaggerish, you know, Joe. Bare swagger.
Wait, do you like? These are my other new ones. These are Among Us
sick.
Earrings.
So much swagger, Joe. Love it. So The Last of Us is one of my top games of all time. And I've been playing games forever, because the reason why I play video games is I like to be lost in a story. Like, I'm more a narrative guy than a multiplayer. And The Last of Us, like, you're playing for all of 10 minutes. And I almost cried. And I'm not even a crier like that. Like, I'm not even like what they put Joel through and that story and really taking you through a journey. And the thing, video games do something that no other media can do, is they make you feel like that character. And that's why there's so much backlash over The Last of Us Part 2, because people feel like the character of Joel is them and they wouldn't have done that. And that Ellie, they're like, no, that's not my Ellie. And these characters are not actually you, but because video games kind of take you on such an amazing journey, you actually feel like you're those characters, and it's so epic.
You're so invested in them, and I think, again, it's so difficult to describe that to people who don't play games, and to describe how that, you know, especially to someone who might be like a drama producer or a writer, you know, who they create the characters and you sort of watch them, and yes, you're invested in them, but you're watching them. You don't have that control. So it's really difficult to describe that until you actually experience that. And I just think that, you know, these worlds are only going to get more sophisticated, and you look at the incredible stuff that's coming out of Epic with its Digital Humans work and just the fidelity. Like, again, this industry is so compelling to be a part of, because every single year we iterate and get better, and it just advances. And then you get surprise kind of hits like Return of Obra Dinn or Papers, Please, by the same make, who just do something completely different that blows everyone's minds. And you're like, but that's not the high quality like graphics and characters and all of that.
Could you imagine showing young you who was looking at Pong that Unreal Engine footage now? Like in your lifetime, that's how much technology has grown, and that's where gaming is mad. Like when I watched that Unreal Engine, I literally felt like, now this is an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah. But I also thought about, unfortunately, I thought about, because people say that I'm quite a negative thinker, and I like go through my life thinking I'm really positive, and I'm really, and everyone's like, no, you're not, Joe. All my friends are like, you just think of the worst case scenario. And it's because that's part of our job as a trade body, is to think of the worst case scenario, or to be on the shoulder of the industry so that we can preempt stuff before the shit hits the fan, if you like. And so like we're always kind of thinking about, but how can that be exploited by someone who means harm? And I think those are things like we have a responsibility as creators to think of those questions, but it shouldn't stop us doing things and innovating. But that's where my mind goes. I'm like, oh my God, deep fakes. Yeah, we're going to get
100%. They could literally just create me and you doing anything, us robbing a bank. And we're like, no, we was in our house. It's COVID. And they're like, well, I can see you on a camera. Like, it looks that realistic.
But that's also why, during lockdown, I bought an Oculus Quest 2 because I've been waiting for VR headsets to be cableless without a powerful computer and really easy. I just want to be able to sit down in VR. I don't want to have a big space. I don't have a big space. So I bought that, and then I ended up buying everyone on the team one. I didn't buy one. We used our training budget because I thought, let's do team meetings, let's do like our team socials in VR. And, I'm now kind of totally like, I want that fidelity and I want that quality in VR. And it's just, even when you're in a sort of cartoon like Rec Room or something like that, in VR, even though, we know that VR sort of just changes that whole interaction and the whole other set of considerations that you have to have as a game designer around how humans interact when you're in that kind of space. It's just phenomenal. It blows your mind. And I'm like, I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to experience that.
I want to play Resident Evil in VR so much, but I'm too shook. I'm way too shook. I'm not even going to act like I can do it. All right, quickly before I let you go, because I'm not going to take up too much of your time. One of the things that I do a lot in my job is to kind of talk to parents about how they can be involved in their children's lives when it comes to gaming, and speaking to them a lot about like them not needing to understand the complete ins and outs of gaming, but obviously understand things like a game like GTA is for over 18s, so kids shouldn't be playing it the same way you wouldn't give your kid an over 18s movie. What piece of advice would you give to parents to really kind of who feel alienated to computer games? They don't really understand it. Just something brief.
First of all, go to askaboutgames.com. It's got all the advice you need, and have that conversation. It also guides you how to have that conversation with your child if you don't understand games. Watch games on videos, like watch YouTube, watch your show, watch Twitch live streams of other parents who are streaming. Ellie Gibson's doing amazing work talking about games and sort of deconstructing them in plain English for parents who don't understand games, because it is difficult. But ultimately, it is about understanding that this is normal. It's a normal part of our entertainment lifestyle. Critically, games during lockdown have helped children's mental health. We know that through research that is done. We know that research is showing that gameplay is positively linked to well-being. And so embrace it as a positive thing. There's all sorts of learnings that you can get and education that you can glean from different games. There's another database that we helped launch with Andy Robertson, who's fantastic on this, called Taming Gaming. And it helps you to filter the kinds of games that you want to play. If you want to play games that are suitable to play with your family, grandparents remotely, play them. Games are so important. Like, don't believe the negative headlines. Find out for yourself, have the conversation, get the tips and the confidence from Ask About Games.
100%. One thing as well I always say to parents is there's apps as well that you can control how much playtime your child has and what games they're downloading and buying. So there's so much tools out there to help anyone who's not confident. And there's amazing people like Joe who are doing loads of stuff for you. So you ain't got no excuses. Joe, thank you so much for joining me on Too Many Games. I wish I had a 2-hour podcast that I could just talk to you all day. Where can the people find you and find more about UKIE?
I am at Docto on Twitter and ukii.org.uk. And if you want to get in touch with any of the team, it's just our first names at ukii.org.uk.
Perfect. And that's it. Another episode of Too Many Games. I bet you didn't even know you was going to get that education. But when Joe's around, it's straight teaching. Now, she's been Dr. Joe Twist. I've been Mr. Midas. You've been amazing. And we out.